So this mustn't feel too bad then?
Well, the waves weren't as close. The waves were just as bad, but not as close.
It wasn't as bad. It was the wind.
Yeah, but the wind was terrible.
What you have out there?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The canopy was ripping. Jesus. With the wind.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Yeah. So are you glad we're not out there?
I'm really glad we're not out there. Well, we were out there yesterday. That way, in this weather. So we came in, it was dead calm, which made for an easier docking.
30 knot winds, 2 meter waves.
Yeah, that was us. I can't imagine trying to get into a marina in this kind of weather. I'm glad we were out here. So what was your takeaway, Jack, from our experience yesterday? Which you've got lots of benchmarks to measure it by, right?
I mean, I definitely have some benchmarks, but nothing that I saw yesterday was a surprise because I knew it was coming. First of all, we anchored where we anchored, so we went through that in daylight instead of going through the night and hitting that kind of wind in the middle of the night when you can't see anything and you can't, have as good visual navigation. So we anchored for 7 hours, got up at 2:30 in the morning, and what we were complaining about all day is the fact that there was a lack of wind, and the wind was coming from the east, where every single 5 different programs had said that it was going to be westerly. So we kept saying it's going to change, it's going to change. For hours we were saying it's going to change, it's going to change. And then Deb and I went down for a bit of a nap, and probably within 30 minutes Noel said, your wind's here, did you want to get up for it? It's like, yep. Sure enough, turned to the west. The only thing that surprised me was how short the waves were. So you got the 2 meter waves, very short. So the boat handled it perfect, but when she rounded up, when she surfed and rounded up, she rounded up that she almost didn't have time to go back because the next wave was on it. So when I came up right away, I adjusted her to not take it on the beam. It was coming at the beam when I came up off my nap. So we took it on the quarter, and then as she surfed and I could see she was struggling to get back in time, I would just give it a little bit more gas to bring her head back up and left it on autopilot because it was doing such a good job. So then we were already 2 reefs in the main. We knew it was coming, so we'd already reefed the main. Once it came, to me there was nobody going on deck to do anything. So no point putting up a foresail. What we're going to do is we're going to motor sail and get out of it as quickly as possible rather than prolong it for an extra hour or 2, right? So we were pretty much, I think we saw 9.1 knots surfing at some point. Boat handled it fine, the autopilot handled it fine. Pete and Deb looked a little white, but I think Pete took a wave, which woke him up out of his stunned state. And I think they just saw that their boat could handle it. And once we got to the point, got some shelter from the land, turned around the point to come to Crotone, it was like it never happened. It was about 4 hours. It hit us at 1:15. And we were around the point by 5, so it was less than 4 hours. That's my takeaway on yesterday.
First of all, I was like completely shocked because I knew like 20 knots was strong, but I had no idea how terrifying it was, or 25 knots. The like 2 meter seas, and I heard people talk about it before, but it really didn't get to me. I had no idea how scary it is. and you intrinsically you know the boat's not going to tip over, right? There's not going to be a rogue wave. You're not going to what do they call that?
Capsize?
Yeah,
A
not
knockdown.
capsize.
It's normally a knockdown.
Yeah, normally a knockdown, but we got kicked around a lot, and just it was and the boat seemed to right itself. Jackie was on the helm, and she just giving it the gas just to the right time to settle her down, and it worked out fine. But it was scary. It was really scary stuff from my point of view. You've been in heavier seas with Jackie before.
Well,
in Tasmania, and
we did the Tasmania crossing the Bass Strait, which put us into now 30 knot winds and 2 meter waves. Were they 2 or 2.5? Something like that. And it was at night. So it was a little bit different, and the wind was coming from behind, so you could watch the waves almost overtaking, crashing onto the dinghy. But, again, taking that on the quarter prevented that, so it was easier. And it was raining. It was wet and cold and miserable. And the middle of the night is not a lot of fun doing that. This was easier than that. Still scary, the winds were, 30 knots, and the waves, 2 meters. I don't know if they were 2 meters, but they were severe. And yeah, this kind of boat is made for that kind of stuff, with the center cockpit and all protected, and it was okay, and thankfully Jackie's had a lot of sailing experience, so that helps us, get through all this rather than, just floundering about out there and possibly sinking the boat. But,
now, when you agreed to help us sail the boat to Montenegro,
yes,
did you think you were going to have to deal with that kind of crap?
Given the experiences that we've had so far in the Mediterranean, as Jackie likes to say, the wind is 0 or it's blowing 30, 40 knots, right?
Yeah.
You either got no wind or you got tons of wind. And this experience
Not
was
surprising for you.
tons of wind. Yeah, not surprising. And the forecast was not far wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, the little bit of east wind that we had at the beginning was only because it was swirling around. There wasn't a lot of wind, so it was just kind of swirling around. And then when we got to where it said it was going to be stronger winds, it was, and blowing from the west like it said it was going to do. And even talking to the guy here at the marina, he was telling him the story. He says, yeah, it funnels down, through a chute, and boom, it's always like that.
I know, but if we were in 1,000 meters of water, that's 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect the waves to be that short.
Yeah, but
in that depth.
like I was saying, the wind is coming off the shore, so it's shallow water, and then it gets deeper and deeper. So I don't think the waves have a chance to elongate, and spread out. So you're stuck in that shorter chop. And if the wind was blowing the other way, and you had the waves having time to go with the strong wind, I think they would have been further apart. But what do I know? I'm not a sailor. I'm just here for the ride.
And the beer. Cheers.
And the beer.
Hey Deb, we got you here, and we'd like to have your thoughts. And with Jackie, on you go.
Well, I have to say, we motored most of the way to where we are right now, and twice along the way I was feeling a bit nervous. The first was going from Messina to the anchorage we were at the night before last, I think, and the forecast for the strait was high winds at the bottom of the point of the toe, I guess, of Italy. I was pleasantly surprised, even though we had high winds, and Noel had pointed out to me that it's not just the winds, you've got to check the sea state, like the wave heights and kind of the tides and all the rest of it. So, and the wind was coming from behind us, so I was really pleasantly surprised with the amount of wind that we had getting to that first anchorage, how well it went, and I wasn't feeling at all stressed by it. Coming to like yesterday, leaving the anchorage at 3 o'clock in the morning, I think it all went well. I think you and I got the anchor up. You was on the helm and I was getting the anchor up, and you helped Noel and showed me some tips and stuff, which is what this is all about. I mean, you guys are sailing with us so that we can bring the boat to your boat and buddy boat and learn along the way. But there was like this feeling of doom yesterday, and I do have anxiety, and it was a feeling of doom since we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was very cruisy, we were motoring, there was no wind, and we were waiting to put the sails up. And it went from, okay, waiting to put the sails up to like bang. It was, you know, it went to like 3, 6, 9, 16, 20, 25, 28, 30. And I think we put the sails, we put the sails up already? I can't remember.
The mainsail was up the whole time.
Yeah,
the
and we
2 reefs
double
in it, 'cause we
reefed.
knew it was
Yeah,
coming.
because we knew it was coming. But then we kind of waited for it. And we're like, is it really coming? Because it was, we kind of got quite into the afternoon before it actually hit. And then when it did hit, it's probably, aside from being on MAD a few years ago in Brisbane, the biggest winds and seas that I've been in. And I did feel, I felt safe, I have to say. The only thing that concerned me was anybody having to go on deck throughout it, because it was so bumpy. The waves were short and they were big, and we were surfing down them, and
heading into the wind to do anything with that mainsail was just not an option.
it was that the prospect of that makes me think, if it's just me and Pete on the boat, like, how the hell are we going to handle this? And I know people do it all the time, lots of people. It's just very new for us. So all in all, like, I was a bit, at some points yesterday, I was a bit scared, I have to say, just because you know, when those waves hit you on the side and you're just rolling right over. But I remember Jackie's mum saying to us 3 or 4 years ago, it's a cork. It just like floats, bounces around, and it's going to come back. And yesterday proved to me that is true with this boat. So I think I would not want to be in that again, but if we find ourselves in it, just me and Pete, I think we'll be okay. Because I don't think she's going to flip. I don't think she's going to sink. I think she's going to be okay.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't have that sail up.
And we would, yeah, we probably wouldn't. But even if we did have a double reef sail up for stability, I think I would want to, based on this experience, or at least have a mizzen up or something. But like I say, we've not been through that in this boat, and you don't plan to go out and sail in that kind of weather.
It does speak to the fact that, okay, we're trying to get from A to B. We're trying to get from Italy
to Montenegro.
And so we are just waiting for the slightest crack in an open window, and we're going and we're sailing. Mm-hmm. But if we're eventually, when we're cruising, there's not a chance that we're going to go out in something that's going to happen, except when all the predictions are off, and we do get caught out. If that does happen, you've experienced it before, and you'll feel a little bit more confident.
Usually
in Galeen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So that was my takeaway.
Yeah, I have to point out, you know, your life ring there that has the safety light.
Yeah.
Fell off.
Yeah.
Fell off.
The wave actually took it out of the holder and was just dangling in the water as we were going along yesterday. Oh, it's just,
Well, the other thing is
you
that
always learn something, right?
We learnt that, and we learnt about the spaghetti junction of lines we've got at the mast, and we need to rearrange those, and so there's definitely some takeaways.
Or so the traveler before the wind hits.
Yeah, but you don't know
but
angle as you move position of the boat and the angle of the wind is the kind of thing that all you know is that you got to keep the wind, the boat and the wind and the sail in that direction, and avoid somebody having to go on deck to do anything about it, right?
I think something else that we learned, which we've actually put on our little post-it note list of things to do to move across, is that we need to investigate, like, is it possible to get the lines brought back? Is it possible to get an electric winch? Is it, like, for this boat, it's an old boat, it's 41 years old. Like, what can we do to make it more safe for us to be able to handle it as a couple, basically? So that was a big takeaway too.
Okay. And also, by the way, I think I can speak on behalf of all of us. Cheers to Jack.
Yeah, it worked out all right, didn't it?
Boom.
Hey, look. So we get to try an Aperol Spritz on the waterfront in Italy. That's pretty authentic, I think. And I'm going to go and watch the guy make it.
First class treatment here.
Yummy. Grazie mille. Yummy.
Okay, let's not make a meal of it.
We're sailors. Anything free. Mind you, they'll probably add the price onto the spritzers.
In our tipping gallery, it's great game.
Wow. Looks delicious. Grazie mille. Here's the drinks.
Oh, exactly.